It was a Monday morning, and the city of Lagos, Nigeria, was already wide awake. The city never really slept, but Mondays were particularly chaotic. From the crack of dawn, the streets buzzed with the cacophony of car horns, street hawkers shouting their wares, and the occasional shouting match between two Okada riders who had narrowly avoided colliding at an intersection. In the midst of this bedlam was Tunde, a young, ambitious Lagosian who had just landed a job interview at one of the most prestigious companies in Victoria Island. Determined to impress, Tunde had donned his best suit, a crisp white shirt, and a red tie that his mother insisted would bring him good luck. But Lagos had other plans. As Tunde stepped out of his apartment in Surulere, he was greeted by the dreaded sight of an empty street. The usual bustle was missing, and his heart sank as he realized what had happened. His street had turned into a river thanks to the overnight rain. His mind raced as he tried to figure out how to get to his interview on time. A few minutes later, a battered Danfo bus skidded to a stop in front of him. The conductor, a burly man with a toothpick dangling from his lips, shouted, "CMS. CMS. One chance." Tunde knew that one chance in Lagos meant the last available seat. He hesitated for a second, knowing the bus ride would be an adventure of its own, but he had no choice. The moment he hopped into the bus, he realized his mistake. The seat was wedged between a woman with an impossibly large basket of fish and a man engrossed in a heated phone conversation, gesticulating wildly with both hands. The smell of fish and sweat was overwhelming, but Tunde kept his focus. He was a man on a mission. As the bus hurtled down the road, narrowly missing other vehicles, Tunde's phone buzzed. It was his mother, reminding him to be humble but assertive in his interview. He smiled, but the smile vanished as the bus came to a sudden stop. A LASMA officer had flagged them down, claiming the driver had violated a traffic rule. A heated argument ensued, with the driver passionately defending his honor while the passengers groaned in collective frustration. After what felt like an eternity, the driver managed to bribe the officer with a few crumpled naira notes, and they were back on the road. Tunde checked his watch nervously. Time was slipping away. As they approached the third mainland bridge, the traffic came to a standstill. Tunde sighed deeply. The conductor, sensing his distress, turned to him with a grin. "Oga, no worry. This one not go slow. It go soon move." Tunde wasn't so sure, but what could he do? When they finally reached CMS, Tunde bolted from the bus and sprinted towards Victoria Island. He flagged down a kiki, and the driver, sensing his urgency, navigated the labyrinthine streets like a pro. By the time Tunde arrived at the company's building, he was a sweaty mess, his tie askew and his once polished shoes covered in mud. He quickly tidied himself up as best as he could and rushed into the lobby. The receptionist, a young lady with a bright smile, looked up as he approached. "Good morning, sir. How may I help you?" "I'm here for an interview," Tunde panted. "Oh, Mr. Tunde. You're just in time. Please, take a seat. Someone will be with you shortly." Tunde sank into the chair, grateful for the reprieve. As he waited, he couldn't help but chuckle. This was Lagos, a city that threw every possible obstacle in his way but also made sure he arrived with a story worth telling. The interview. Well, that's a story for another day. But one thing was certain, Tunde had survived his first real test of Lagos living, and he knew he was just getting started.